Guys, welcome back to 1776 or Bust. So on the table you see my SIG P320. Now, I haven't really done anything with this SIG in a while. Unfortunately, this has kind of taken a backseat to some of my other guns that I do carry more often and more regularly than this gun. But one of the things I decided to do is I decided to take it out about a week and a half ago and start shooting it again. And I have to say, I'm just completely happy with the SIG 320. It's a very flat shooting gun. It shoots extremely well. And you can be very accurate with this gun if you really want to be. Now, of course, one of the things that I wanted to do with this gun was, now that I've decided to really start investing more time into it, was I decided to Cerakote the frame. This was actually a test job for my local gun shop. So I donated him the frame. I said, you can keep it. I don't need it because I have actually two more up there that I don't use. And he said, no, I'll give it back when I'm done. So he was done with it, and he Cerakoted in Patriot Brown and came out great. So I'm real happy with it. There is a little bit of wear on the front, where I holster the gun, but whatever, it's a gun. Now, of course, the gun has been safety checked. So for all you safety freaks out there, I'm clear and I'm clean. Now, the other thing that I decided to do with this gun, now that I was going to be investing a little bit more time into it, was I wanted to put a new trigger into it. Now, I've watched a lot of videos, heard from a lot of people about the Apex trigger, and they all recommended the flat face trigger. So as I was doing a little research, Apex apparently released their second generation of triggers, where they have the flat face and then this one right here that you see in front of you, and this is their curved advanced trigger. Now, the advanced trigger, how this differs from the first generation is that the pull weight on the trigger has actually been reduced by roughly 2 pounds. Now, I've already been doing this off camera plenty of times, so I'm just going to kind of give you an idea of what I'm coming up with on a random pull. Now, this is the first pull at 5 pounds, 15.4 ounces, so that's a little bit high. So we'll try again here. And hold on, didn't reset, sorry. And then, of course, you get a 3 pound, 11.7 ounces. So right on the cusp of almost 4 pounds, but a few ounces shy of that. And then, of course, you get the 4 pound, 1.1 ounce. So if I was going to average those 3 pulls, let me see if I can get those. It's averaging at around 3 pounds, 14.4 ounces. So, I mean, is it accurate? It's probably not the most accurate. Again, I do have my little camera stand in front of me, so it kind of limits where I can place this, and I did want to show it to you on camera. But I would say the more average pulls that I've been getting have been roughly about 4 pounds, 10 ounces, around there. And I would say that's about right. So for me, roughly what I would say is that this trigger does make a big improvement on the trigger system. Now, it's just a drop-in trigger. The trigger bar is the same trigger bar. There's nothing else different. It's just the trigger. Now, apparently how they designed this trigger is a little bit different. Apparently where the fulcrum is of the trigger, it's a little bit longer and thicker. So apparently that reduces the pull weight. Now, again, not an engineer, don't know how it works, so don't quote me on that. But from what I'm seeing on the Lyman gauge and after shooting it, I would have to tell you it definitely did work. It definitely reduces the pull weight on the trigger. Now, in regards to the shape of the trigger reminds me very much so of CZs. And for example, I'll show you the P07. This is the P07 Omega, and you can see that the I guess you can call it a slight curve in the trigger is very similar to the one on the SIG 320. They're almost identical in curve. So it's not exactly a flat face, but it's not exactly a curved trigger. However, what I did notice was when I was shooting this, it seemed to just fit perfectly. As soon as I bring my finger onto the trigger, it knows exactly where it wants to go. And really, guys, that's exactly where it needs to be. Now, of course, with the trigger itself, obviously you get a little bit of take up, which is very similar to the stock trigger. I'll be honest with you, it doesn't really feel that much different. And when you're dry firing it, trust me, guys, it's not going to feel as good as when you're actually shooting live ammo through it. Now, here's your trigger pull. So there you've got your take up, and then a nice clean break. And it really is. It's a very solid break, which I do like. Now, of course, here's your reset. And the reset is pretty positive. I mean, you can feel it and you can definitely hear it. And then there's your second trigger pull after that. So again, very nice upgrade. Again, a lot of people are out there buying guns, and I know there's a lot of temptation. Believe me, I'm tempted a lot to buy new stuff. However, one of the things I'm going to start focusing on is improving the things that I already have. And I think for about You can actually find this on their website for $50, but I actually found it on eBay for $45 with free shipping. So I went ahead and bought it, and I have to tell you guys, for $45, you're getting a really good upgrade that's going to reduce the trigger pull weight on the SIG 320. Now, just to give you an idea of how it shot that day, this is just a brief example, but you'll notice that a lot of the shooting was low. Again, it's really just because of me. It has nothing to do with the gun or the trigger. I will tell you that when I first shot the first round, which is this one right here, the trigger really surprised me. I thought it was going to break a little bit heavier, and it's just very smooth. Once there's live ammunition through there, guys, and you're not dry firing it, trust me, you're going to know exactly what I mean when I say that. But as soon as you shoot it, you cannot believe how smooth this trigger is compared to the stock trigger. I did not believe it until I shot it, and I have to tell you, I've been very, very pleased with it. All right, so this is the P320 with that new Apex flat trigger. Let's see if you can see it right there. See that? And I'm noticing I'm shooting low. The trigger is extremely light, So I'm going to try to get it up a little higher here. Okay, so that was a little bit better group. Trigger is really nice, guys. The Apex trigger is really nice. And you can see the group is a little bit better from the first one. So I can zoom that in. There's your 9 rounds, and then there's your first round right there, low. So I was able to close it a little bit better, which I actually like. This trigger is deceivingly light when you put it in. When I first got it in, I wasn't too happy. But I have to say, guys, this the Apex trigger is real nice. This is their new 2.0 trigger that reduces it by about supposedly 2 pounds. I felt more like about 1 pound, but it's real light, real nice trigger. It makes shooting the 320 even nicer. It's a super flat shooting gun, but definitely I feel a little better on the results there than I did initially on the other one. As you can see, that's the last 10, first 10. So you can see a big difference. All right, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Freedom is never free. So again, like I said, guys, for $45, free shipping on eBay, you can definitely improve your SIG 320. And honestly, it doesn't need much improvement after that. Everything on here else is stock. There's nothing else that's been improved. I mean, the SIG night sights came with it. Aside from the Cerakoted frame and this new $45 trigger, this gun is still friggin' great. So I hope you guys have a great night. If you haven't subbed, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up. We always appreciate that. And as always, everybody, freedom is never free.